Hey, all you cool cat mathematicians. Today we're looking at 4-1, and this lesson is going to focus on using multiples of 10 and basic facts to solve more complicated or complex multiplication problems. So first of all, let's ask ourselves, what are multiples? So I've taught you a bunch of vocabulary this year related to math, multiplication specifically. And if you knew fact like 2 times 3 equals 6, you already know that 2 and 3 are called the factors, and 6 is called the product. The other term that you need to understand about multiplication is this idea of multiples. And when we talk about multiples, it's those multipliers. So in the factors, we're looking at maybe 3 or the 2. Let's talk about multiples of 3. So this is that list that you use to skip count. Those are your multiples. So the first multiple is 3 because 3 times 1, right? So times 2 would be 6. The next one for times 3 would be 9. Times 4 would be 12. Times 5 would be 15. Times 6 would be 18. These numbers, 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, and 18, are all multiples of 3. Spelling multiples wrong. So if I would ask you the next multiple of 3, what would that be? Think about it. You have 3 times 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That would be this 3 times 7, right? Or 21. Understanding and knowing multiples is important for fractions and when you start to add and subtract fractions. But why are we talking about this for lesson 4.1 when we are doing multiplication? Well, in this lesson, you are going to be multiplying some basic fact like 2 times 3 times a multiple of 10. So your multiples of 10 are all these numbers that end in zeros. So if you're thinking of multiples of 10, you're looking at 10, 100, 1,000, 10,000, so forth. But multiples of 10 can also be when you take a factor like 3 and you're multiplying that by 10. So it could be 3 times 10 is 30, or times 100 is 300, or 3,000, or 30,000, depending upon what you are multiplying it by. So in this lesson, you will find a lot of numbers that end in zeros. Those numbers that end in zeros are those multiples of 10, is what they refer to them to, and they help you do more complex multiplication in your head using mental math if you understand this right here, the basic fact. And I'm going to show you what I mean by understanding the basic fact, using mental math and multiples of 10 to be quick and efficient in your mathematics. So let's look at the basic fact 2 times 2. We've done a little bit of extending these patterns earlier in the year. The difference that you're going to see with today's lesson, though, is that this lesson's going to have 2 multiples of 10, and you're going to have to continue on. But let's just review what we did earlier in the year with these extended fact patterns in these multiples of 10. So look at my 2 here. My multiples of 10 for the 2 are 20, 200, and 2,000. If you know the basic fact 2 times 2, which is 4, it is easy to extend that pattern. I would look at 2 times 2 is 4. Remember, we bring over the 0. So 2 times 20 is 40. 2 times 2 is 4. That pattern is just adding as many zeros on that we have from that multiple of 10. 2 times 2 is 4. In 200, we have 2 zeros. 2 times 200 is 400. And you guessed it, 2 times 2,000 would be 4,000. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 1. When we are doing these multiples of 10, if you know this basic fact, you can extend that. So how do they change up in this lesson? How do they make it more complex for you as a superb quantitative reasoner? Well, in this lesson, you're going to see problems like 50 times 40. Again, because these end in zeros, and these are those multiples of 10, that means that you could count by tens to get to 50. You could count by tens to get to 40. You can use basic fact knowledge and that pattern of extending with the zeros to solve this. So mentally, I know that 5 times 4 is 20, right? 5, 10, 15, 20. So I have my 20. And then I need to add both my zeros this time. For 2 zeros, 2,000. 50 times 20 is 2,000. I'm sorry, 50 times 40 is 2,000. Let's try another one. This time, why don't you look with me and you help me do this one with your whiteboard. I'll give you a second to pull out your whiteboard. Go ahead and pause the video. Here we go. This one's directly from your book. Let's look at the problem 10 times 900. A lot of you can already look at this and probably have the mental math pattern down and know the answer. But first, identify the basic fact, just as a review so you know. The basic fact here, because these numbers are ending in 0 and they're multiples of 10, we're looking at the digit that's not a 0. Those are our basic facts we can pull out of there. Pull them out. 9 times 1 is 9. Now let's add in those multiples of 0 zeros. These are the multiples of 10 zeros. 1 here, 1 here, 1 here. I even do this sometimes. 1, 2, 3. 9,000. I hope you learn this mental math strategy to make you quicker and more efficient. This is something that I really, really want you to pay careful attention to and practice a lot, because the next lesson is going to require you to do area models and multiply larger numbers using a strategy that builds upon this strategy.